Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their dreams, struggles and successes, how they were able to persevere despite the fear and create the life they want and deserve. If you're looking for inspiration to move you past where you normally would stop, then this is the show for you. Here's your host, Melissa Banks.
Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm excited you could be with us today. I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Today, we kick off a special series, Women Who Shine. These amazing women will share with us how they were able to keep shining despite the circumstance. Also today, I am joined by a special co-host, Deborah Hunter. Deborah is an energetic, charismatic Mississippi native. She is a former television and radio host, a celebrated and highly sought-after chef, artist, motivational speaker, and author. Welcome, Deborah, to the show.
Hi, Melissa. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited about today. First of all, let me just congratulate you for all of your success and your new books that are out. How amazing is that? The Little Girl in the Pretty Red Dress, Little DJ, and the Big Imagination. How do you feel about that?
Oh, my gosh, Melissa. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you so much for sharing your venue with me. I am so super excited to be here, and I'm just excited about life. This has just been really an incredible time for me in spite of the COVID. One of the things that it has forced me to do is to really tap into my creative brain, and I'm really grateful for that. And these books, I pray, will be a blessing to lots of children all over the world.
I think it's so amazing. Just the covers show your creativity and your skill, and it gets you all excited. So congratulations on that. I know it will be amazing. So
Thank
Deborah,
you so much.
Let's talk about women who shine. You know, so often we have women in our lives, or just people in our lives, really, that we listen to every day. They inspire us. We watch them move, and they motivate and encourage us to keep going. But more often than not, we don't publicly, for sure, let them know how they impact our lives. So when you made that post, Women Who Shine, where you literally highlighted some women who just impacted you in different ways through their posts, through the motivation that they provided, that was such an inspiration to me as well. So why was it important to you to highlight these women and spotlight them publicly in that way?
Well, Melissa, it's what you just said. A lot of times we don't really share with people the value that they bring to our lives. And I think a lot of times it's because of culture. We've learned to be very comfortable with critical conversations when it comes to other women. But when it comes to really just saying thank you for bringing your time, your talent, your energy, your personality to the table, I don't know that, as a whole we have really made peace with that. And as a woman, it's really important for me to say to other women, because you never get anywhere by yourself. And most of the women that I am truly grateful for have cleared a path that makes life a lot easier for me. They're helping other people. They're doing amazing things in the community, in the world. And I want them to know that I appreciate everything that they are and what they bring. And so the day that I made that post, it was really, Melissa, kind of listening to my grandmother's heart. She would always sing this gospel song that says, "Give me my flowers while I live." And I could just hear her voice on that particular morning when I wrote the post. And I was like, I just want to let some other women know I want to give them some flowers. And so it was just an act of kindness.
And it was amazing. It was such an honor and a surprise to open up social media and see another woman acknowledge other women in her lives, whether they were personally in your life or just watching their movement on social media. I can remember my mother singing that song, "Give Me My Flowers While I Just Live." And when you said that, I was like, oh, my God, I can hear her in my head. That was so amazing to me. And that was one of the reasons we wanted to do this series, because I believe that these women deserve their flowers. They deserve their flowers right now, where they can smell them, see them, touch them. So we wanted to highlight these women even further by this series. So thank you so much for the inspiration, and we're excited to get started. So I am going to turn it over to you so that you can introduce our Woman Who Shines.
So, Melissa, I'm going to tell you, I am so excited to introduce this very beautiful young woman that we're going to talk to today. When I realized that she was going to be our very first guest, I literally sat down and just had to breathe in a moment, because I've known Kimberly Campbell since she was probably about 5 years old. And she may not even remember this, but I remember the first time that she came into the beauty salon where I was working at the time, and her mother, who truly was an iconic woman in her own right, brought her in to get her hair done. And I remember she was just so grown up, and I just thought, oh, my God, this little kid's going to be amazing in life. So, Kimberly Campbell, welcome to this program.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here with you, and that did tickle me. It made me think about my mother, who absolutely adored you, as you know. And from her and my grandmothers, they always said I was an old soul. So that's not surprising that she felt that way when I was 5.
Look, Kim, I am just, when I tell you, honored beyond words, first of all, that Melissa would share her venue, but that we get to have conversation, you know. But when I see you in the world, you are young and intelligent, you're beautiful, and you're out here and you're giving of yourself. And so as I was thinking about you, I was wondering, what would be the one word that you would use to describe your person, who you are as a woman?
Oh, wow, that's a really good question. Tenacious, faithful, and unbending. You know, I think those are some really good words to describe how I attempt to move through the world and move through life. You know, life will come at you hard and fast sometimes, and I was always taught that you don't break. You have to bend sometimes, but you don't break. You know, and that's just a part of my faith as well.
So hearing you say that, I'm sitting here with goosebumps, because I could hear your mother saying that to me.
Yes.
You know, she would say to me, it's okay to bend, but don't break. And for those of you who don't know her mother, the amazing Ruth Campbell was my Oprah Winfrey and Maya Angelou before I was even aware of who those women were. She and Charlie Hilliard, Kim, were the first 2 African-American women that I saw moving in the world and brokering business deals and making moves and getting on jets and flying places. And they left a strong impact on my life. And I can see that impact, you know, in your life now. So my second question to you today, Kim, is what is the one thing that motivates you the most in your life, and what would you say to other young women about how that motivation can help them carry forward in their lives?
I think one of the biggest things that I lean on, and it's just, you know, again, faith is the foundation, but is that, you know, you're not here. God did not send you here just to take up space. You know, you are here not by mistake. You are here by divine design. You are here by, you know, it's something that you're supposed to offer the world to better it, to leave it better than you found it. And I know we often hear that, but I think too often, though, not enough people are really, you know, working in that realm, and that's either your community, your family, or whatever your platform. You know, everyone won't have a platform like mine or like yours, but there's somebody that you're supposed to be impacting. There's somebody that you're supposed to make a difference in their lives. I'll give you a quick moment of my life. When I finished from Ole Miss Law School, my grandfather told me something really, really important. You can imagine a black man, a Southerner, and what it meant to see his brown baby, you know, graduate from the Ole Miss Law School. But even in that moment, he said, I want you to understand something, sweetheart. This is not the true mark of success. He said, as proud as I am in the history of the state, the history of Ole Miss and what this means, yes, I'm proud, but this is not true success. True success is how many other people you help them to achieve their dreams. How many other people you help have this moment of walking across this stage, of getting to the C-suite, you know, of making it up the ladder. That's true success. And not that you help people that had what you had to get here, but that you help people that look different, love different, worship different, came from a different socioeconomic background, you know, somebody that did not have what you have. That's when you say that you've truly been successful. That's when you truly made a difference in someone else's life.
Wow. So, Kimberly, hearing you say that, you know, it makes so much sense now where you are now serving the community in the world at AARP, because I see you, you know, shaking and moving and really reaching out to the community from that organization. And that just really makes so much sense that is the heart that you carry into the world. But also watching you be this incredible mother of 4 amazing young brown girls is just incredible. So tell me, with your daughters, Kimberly, what's the legacy that you hope that you leave with them?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. You know, again, I have to think about the tribe of queens that I came from my mother and my grandmothers and my aunts. And, you know, in the black community, you have a lot of play aunts. You know, Charlie Hilliard was one of them. You know, what I want to leave with them and what I try to pour into other, you know, young ladies is that don't let anything stop you. You know, my mother did not let me have the excuse of being black. She didn't let me have the excuse of being a woman. She didn't let me have the excuse of being a Mississippian. She said, I don't care about any of that. She said, that's somebody else's problem. That's not your problem. You are to still excel in spite of. You know, she gave you no excuses. She said, don't come at me with that. And that's that old school. You know, she said, I don't care. You know, another example I'll give you, when I was I went to Mississippi State for undergrad, and I was an English major. And there was a professor that, you know, and of course, you know, look, it's wrong, but people now get paid to do it. You know, I was writing papers for some of the athletes and other people, you know, making some money on the side. I could churn out a paper, you know, overnight. And I noticed, though, at one point in this particular class, the people I was writing papers for, and they didn't always look like me. Sometimes they were white or whatever. You know, they were getting all these high scores, and, you know, my work, I was getting all these low grades. And I remember, you know, talking to my professor one day about it. And he was an older white gentleman. And he point blank said, he said, you are a black woman in the state of Mississippi. You can't be just as good as the rest of them. Now, I know today some people will say that's wrong. I get that. Some people say that's wrong. We're supposed to be on even playing field, and yes, we should, but we are not. So I think you're doing children a disservice, especially black children, black and brown children, when you say that the playing field is even. It's not. And that man became one of my best mentors. He said, I'm going to push you harder than you've ever been pushed. He said, because I see that you can excel. He said, you're doing stuff that you can just churn out in 30 minutes, and that's not good enough. He said, you can work harder because I need you to be the best, because the world is going to require you to be better than Jim Bob down the street that doesn't look like you. And he's right. He was right. And that training and oh my gosh, that man stayed on me. He would make me work so hard, and he would give me extra projects. And, you know, but I got it, you know, and I remember, again, thinking about my mother. I called her and I said, well, he's making me do this. And I know for a fact these other kids are getting good grades, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm writing their papers, you know. And she said, so what did he say? I said, well, he said, because I'm a black woman, I've got to work harder. And her statement to me, that queen looked at me, she said, and she said, can you work harder? Was that your best? And I said, well, I guess it wasn't my best. She said, well, I expect you to excel. And so that's what I teach my children, is that you're not bound by any limitations. Anybody that has a limitation on you or a problem with you, that's their problem. That's their problem ownership. You don't own that problem. You operate from a place of excellence, and God will open the doors that need to be opened for you.
Kimberly, I'm just like, I'm having flashbacks of conversations that I had with your mother and with Charlie and listening to your words and hearing you regurgitate that, I can hear them speaking over my life and saying some of those same things to me. And you know, and for your daughters to have the privilege of being part of that lineage is absolutely incredible. But as hard as you work and as much as you give, what I need to know is, what do you do to personally take care of yourself? Where is your happy place? Spiritually, physically, and mentally, how do you take better care of yourself as a woman who gives so much?
You know, I'll be honest, that has been a journey. That was not something that came easy to me. Serving came easy. You know, it's what I saw, it's what I was brought up, it was what was expected. But even, you know, in some of my mother's final days, well, not even her final days, but as she got older, she was really good about telling me that, don't give the world all of you. She said, and I mean the world as a man, even if you're married, even your children. She said, you've always got to save something just for you. That's just you. Yeah. She said, you've got to always fill yourself up. And so for me, you know, I do some alone trips, and it's just for me because I have to get quiet. I'm a person that my energy feeds off of me. Even if you're in the house with me and you're not in the room, I'm still feeding off of you. So my attention is still thinking about you and what needs you may have, you know. And so I have to get out. I have to get still. I have to get quiet. I do a lot of meditation, you know, and you know, my prayers are not just, you know, at night on my knees. I mean, there are many times that I just sit out in the sun, you know, barefoot. I have this thing about calling grounding, where you just really ground yourself to nature and to earth. And I just talk to God, you know, and sometimes I talk to my ancestors. And when you get still and quiet like that, you'll receive the answers that you need to receive. But you have to get still, and you have to remove yourself from the distractions. And that's really my quiet place. You know, one of my probably favorite places, if I'm here, is in my backyard. I love my backyard. It is like a retreat, and my flowers, and, you know, I mean, it's almost like a nature reserve in the back. The deer come up, and I like to sit out there, you know, by myself really, really early. When the deer really are walking around, sometimes it's so early, they don't think anybody's out there, and I'm out there. And I just have my own, you know, communion with the universe, with God, with the ancestors, and with myself. And I have to do that. I've got to have alone time. That's my happy place.
So I love that so much, Kim. I'm going to share a little bit. I, more than 20 years ago, made a personal decision to remove television from my home. And so when anybody walks into my space, it's really quiet, really peaceful, because being a creative person and wanting to hear from God in such an authentic way, I decided that my home needed to be that sanctuary for me. So I get it. I love being outside in the sun and just taking God in and having those moments. And my prayer for women, you know, all over the world is that we find that, because the world is very demanding. You know, whether you are serving at a fast food restaurant or you're the CEO of a major Fortune 500, the world is always pulling at you. So as women, we have to find those places for mental, physical, and spiritual health. And I really appreciate the fact that you're taking care of yourself that way. So my final question for you, Kim, and then we're going to turn this back over to the wonderful Melissa Banks, is I want to know, what is your philosophy for giving back to the community?
Ooh, that's another really, really good one. Well, for a little bit with the last question and this one, if I may, you have to have a balance. You know, I think too often, especially in the Black community, especially with Black women, we're seen as we're the workhorse, we're the mule, we're the strong Black woman.
That's right.
You know, and it's funny because people always, you know, characterize my mother as that, which she was, but it was interesting. She used to actually hate the term of strong Black woman. She said, because
I hate it.
Yeah, she hates it. She hates it. Yeah. She said, it's like we are a thing. It's like we are an animal. We're that old mule that's broke down because everybody piles everything on it because they know the mule would keep going. She said, we can have strength, but still the world needs to know, our men need to know that we are women. We're still supposed to be cherished and loved on. and protect it and support it.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to carry everything. That's not the role of Black women. So when it comes to the community, I think we do have to strike a balance of find what your passion is. Know what you're good at, what you would be committed to, be a person of your word. But you can't save the world either. God has sent many of us out here. We all have a divine assignment. But you would deplete yourself if you tried to do everything for everybody all the time. And I used to be one of those individuals. I really was. But I realized because every time you say yes to this, you're saying no to probably something with my girls. It took a minute to tell me that. She said, every time you say yes to this church or yes to this organization or yes to this, that's a no that the girls are getting. And when I started thinking about it like that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're right. She said, or if you're with the girls, you're so depleted and tired that you're cranky and they're not getting your best you. So I had to learn how to say, okay, this is something that's really important. And now sometimes I get calls for things. I'm thinking, you know what? I've got somebody else that I can recommend for that. You don't need me for that, And you have to know when it's a different season for you. It's okay to grow, and not that you're better than anything, but sometimes, your platform is no longer for you to be at a church and there's only 10 people there for it. That's somebody else's platform now. Somebody else needs to grow. You've now grown to another platform. And so you can't do everything. And you have to know how to balance, pick and choose wisely, but choose yourself first. Choose yourself first.
Oh, I
choose your
love
family
that.
second, and then choose where you need to operate in the community for others.
Kimberly, I tell you, I love that so much. The idea of choosing yourself first is really the order of God. He says to love your neighbors as you love yourself. And I always say the greatest compliment that we can give to God is to choose to love ourselves first, deeply, and authentically. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Melissa. Kimberly, I love you. God bless you. I'm excited about the rest of this interview.
Wow, I don't even know what to say, and most people who know me will be shocked to hear me say that. Kimberly, when I tell you I have been on the edge of my seat, every word that came out of your mouth was uplifting. Your energy is over the top amazing. Thank you for being you and for sharing your sunshine with the rest of us. I do have to ask a couple of questions, though. Okay. So when I was preparing for today, I went to your social media, and one of the things I saw on there, you said, remember to stop returning to places and people who don't value you. Tell me why that's so important.
Oh, that's so important. Again, I think we all go, especially as women, we all go through different seasons and changes, and whether it's from relationships, and I mean romantic relationships, to friendships, and even work relationships. You have to know, it's like the Nina Simone song, that, when love is no longer being served, you need to get up from the table, And so because that's out of God's divine order. God will never assign you to a situation that depletes you, that defeats you, that demoralizes you, that disrespects you. That is not of the Lord, at least not the God I serve. Not the God I serve. The God I serve knows that I am his royal daughter with divine spiritual blood running through my veins. He did not send me here to be devalued. And if I'm in a situation to where I'm being devalued, I have to ask myself, if I allow it and stay in it, I'm no longer aligned with God's purpose for my life. And I think that's so important. And you have to know when this is not where you need to be. And you need to know when you've got to have the strength to walk away. But the devil is tricky. The devil will make you try to come back to the situation that destroyed you. And you have to be smart enough to say, my God saved me once. He's not going to have to save me twice. I learned my lesson. And I'm going to follow his divine steps and be in the places, the fellowship, the community, the people that value me. That's where I need to serve.
Oh, absolutely. I totally 100% agree with you. Often, Kimberly, in today's environment, our only influence to reach someone we don't know personally is through social media. How important do you feel your social media presence is, and that it represents things that you value and who you really are?
Oh, absolutely. I think people that have followed me a long time will say, I'm very transparent. I mean, so much so I've had some people say, you probably don't want to be that transparent. But, I think it's really good, because I think people need to see your journey. I think it's easy for those of us that have, quote unquote, made it. They see where we are now. They see the job, or they see us flying here, or they see the house, or what have you. And then they can sometimes, some people that have made it like to portray to others that, it was easy. I always had it like this. But that doesn't help somebody else along their journey. And I think it's important to say, I struggled here, or that job, I had a hard time, or I was fired from that job, But look at where I've ended now, because I persevered and I knew greater was in store for me. And so I think it's very important what we put out there. It's somewhat how I feel about celebrities. I get upset when I hear celebrities say, well, I didn't sign up to be a role model. It doesn't matter, because you are. I look at it like God has blessed you to have certain things. And so God has blessed you to be in the public's eye. A part of that then is the responsibility to operate like you are a role model. And that's what I try to do. But again, even in that, I've learned to balance, because at some point my social media can become a job. And I have to say, wait a minute, I'm not going to turn this stuff out every day. I will, whenever the Spirit moves me, I will speak through that. I let the Spirit move and let the Spirit speak. And when I don't want to move, I don't move. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Well, Kimberly, our audience here at Dream by Design is oftentimes, and our predominant audience is young women either trying to get into entrepreneurship, trying to start a business, or just trying to find their way. What advice would you give to them before we close today with you?
Oh, absolutely. You've got to be a relationship builder. As simple as this sounds, you also have to have a very welcoming, open, and authentic spirit. I tell people all the time, and through the years when I've had to hire people, from when I was in the legislature to my law office to now, I can take someone that may not have been the A+ student or whatever, but has a beautiful spirit and a beautiful personality. I can work with that person. You can have had a 4.0 or worked XYZ, but if your spirit is funky and your attitude is nasty, I'm not the person to help mentor you. And life will close doors. And I tell people all the time, especially young women, get your attitude in check. And be open to learning. Sometimes young people say, I know it all. I got this. No, you ain't got that. So learn from someone else that does have it. Be open, be helpable, be teachable, be coachable. Let somebody mentor you. You need good mentors, but you must have the spirit of discernment, because sometimes everything that glitters ain't gold. So don't follow everybody. So, have the spirit of discernment, and you've got to work hard. You cannot beat someone. For instance, when I used to tell people, whether I win the election or not, they will not outwork me. You cannot outwork Kimberly Campbell, because I'm going to be everywhere, every day, every time. And so you have to be somebody that has that type of, hunger and drive, or like I say, you can be hungry, but don't be thirsty. Those are two different things. I'll leave it there. Be hungry, but not thirsty.
Well, wow, Kimberly, this conversation has been so amazing, so uplifting. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to share with our audience some words that you wrote that just jumped off the page to me. And you said, let's talk about getting our passion back. It seems like things won't change through the pandemic, life struggles. But then you said, hold on and have faith. Ignite your passion for life and your purpose. Expect new miracles every day. Things will be better than you ever imagined. Thank you so much, Kimberly Campbell, for sharing your energy, your faith, for inspiring us to reach for the stars. No excuses. You have to be better than the next person. You have encouraged us so much today, and I want to just thank you for being a woman who shines and to keep shining.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. I had a great time.
I also want to thank our co-host, Deborah Hunter, for encouraging and inspiring this entire series. I can't wait to meet the rest of the ladies.
Thank you so much again, Melissa.
Thank you to our guests for being here today, and to our audience for tuning in to today's edition of Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, saying all your dreams are possible. Believe in yourself, work hard, and don't quit. Until next time, thank you for choosing Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Enjoy your day.